Alright, so today I'm going to be working on the wagon. I've got a couple of maintenance items that I need to take care of now that the weather's starting to change and I'm not really going to be driving the other cars for a while. One of the things I want to look into is the PCV valve. I've never changed it since we've owned this car, and I doubt it's ever been changed. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off and replace it. They're only a couple bucks, and it's definitely cheap insurance for your engine. This car isn't stock, so it's definitely worth it to just replace it every 20,000 miles. Now this is only going to be for the 2002 and 2003 WRX. I'm not sure if the valve is in the same location on the NA models of this year, but the 04 and up, it's a completely different part. So this isn't going to apply for anything but the 02 and 03s. And so what the valve does is it keeps the crankcase gases from building in the engine, but doesn't allow anything back into the motor. So the first thing we're going to need to do is pull off the top mount intercooler. And if you haven't done it before, pretty simple. We just have some hose clamps we need to remove. There's a bolt on either side, and we've got to disconnect a few hoses, pull that off and clean it if we need to. And I believe the PCV valve is located somewhere in this area. Next, we're going to remove these two bolts, and they're also 12 millimeter. Okay, so I've just about got all the hardware taken care of. I went ahead and took this bracket off. It's also two 12 millimeter bolts right there. Just get that out of the way. Remove the hardware here. The four bolts back here were kind of a bitch. It's going to be a lot of fun getting that back in, but now all I need to do is just disconnect some of these hoses, and I should be able to just pull it right off. There we go. Okay, now that the intercooler is off, we can get a better idea where the PCV valve is actually located. Just under the throttle body. Let's see if I can see it. It attaches, if you follow this hose here, it runs down, and the PCV valve is just to the left of that. Maybe I'll be able to show you from this angle. See, it's kind of that rusty thing right there to the left of the hose. And that's going to be the PCV valve itself. Okay, it's finally out. Took a little bit longer than I thought it would, but I was trying to cut corners by not removing some of the other hoses that were in the way. I thought I could get around them, but ultimately I had to pull off the Y-pipe. And on another note, if you're planning on replacing this and you want to pick up another horsepower or two, this is the perfect time to throw on the aftermarket piece, but I'm just going to stick with the OEM stuff for now. Something else you'll want to do when you replace this is check inside the hose. When you have it off, I see that I have a little bit of residue in mine. I kind of wish I had a new hose to replace it with, but I'm just going to clean it the best I can and just put it back on the car. It's also a good time to take a look back here and just kind of double check some of the hoses and some of these hard to reach places to see if you can catch anything that's failing or that has failed. And I've kind of looked everything over, and everything actually looks great. So here's what it looks like out of the car. One way you can tell if this valve has gone bad is to shake it. You don't hear anything. Now if you grab the new piece and shake that, you can actually hear a clicking in it. My advice is if you have it out of the car already, whether it clicks or not, I would just go ahead and just replace it. I'll make sure to put a link in the description for the new piece. So that's basically it. Just reinstall everything in reverse, how you removed it. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of clean up this area and double check a few things. Look over some of these hoses and clamps, make sure everything looks okay. I'm also going to take the time to clean what I can on the turbo. There's a little residue on the throttle body. I'm going to clean that off too, and just going to put everything back together and call it good.